Good evening. I'm speaking with Harsha De Silva, a very well-known economist in Sri Lanka and also commentator on a number of issues related to the political economy of the country. Harsha, very warm welcome to the program. It must be odd sitting where you are and being the interviewee instead of the interviewer. How many programs now have you done on public television interviewing people?
Thanks, Anjana. Nice to be here. And it is odd to be here. I've done about 165, somewhere around that, 160, 165 shows.
Did you ever think that you would be a television personality in the sense that you are now?
Never, never. When Mr. Rajamahendran first wanted me to do it, I walked out saying, no way. But, you know, he said, come on, you know, let's give it a try. We'll try a few months and see how it goes. And now it's gone on for 3 years, and I actually love it. So,
and has that made you embarrassed to stand in the checkout queue because people come up to you and ask for your political opinion or economic analysis of the country?
At times it is embarrassing, but at other times, you know, sometimes I find it quite enjoyable when people come and say, look, you know, we've learned something, you know, we didn't know this, and I feel, well, this is what we set out to do, and if we are able to do it. And I sometimes, you know, people call me and ask me to speak in schools and universities, which is really the objective of our show, to create a discussion among the people of this country on issues that pertain to them in, economics.
And I was present at the speech you gave at a launch of a news magazine about a month or two ago, where you did say that you were enjoying these conversations, public debates as a public intellectual, but you also said that you were being firewalled and prevented from speaking in some public fora, ostensibly because those in positions of power or authority didn't want the message that you were promoting to be heard by a larger public. Now, is that cause for concern?
In a sense, it is, but I mean, we're losing out in the process. For instance, let me be quite open with you. Last week, I was supposed to speak at the Bandaranaike Centre for International Studies with the Australian High Commissioner Kathy Krugman on the global fallout and the trade between Australia and Sri Lanka. And, you know, registrations were full and people were eager to come and listen and then participate in the discussion. But certain senior official of the government pulled the plug. So not only my views were not heard by the people, even the High Commissioner.
So the entire event was scrapped.
The entire event was scrapped. Yes.
Why is this? Does it lead then? Maybe the better question: does it lead to a crisis of confidence with regards to the public not really knowing enough of the range of truths that are out there? That leads to maybe a crisis of confidence in investors, locally and internationally.
I mean, you know, Amartya Sen's book, said, countries with democracy and freedom of expression had never had famines. Much later, I mean, just recently Stiglitz wrote a book, World Bank book, which said, look, crises could be avoided if people speak out, and in the media, there is discussion. Right?
I'm laughing because there is no discussion.
Exactly the point. So now even, for instance, this current balance of payment crisis, people like myself and others have been trying to, say, look, there is a serious problem in this country, and the exchange rate management of the central bank was actually, leading the economy to a point of crisis. But unfortunately, even though we spoke at various fora, we wrote in various newspapers, journals, the government per se never engaged us. And now look what has happened.
But just on that point, it's not just a question of engagement, it's a question of outright denial. And I want to be very clear on this. And the Daily Mirror on the 4th of February asked the incumbent, the governor of the central bank, with regards to the bailout and the IMF assistance, are we seeking assistance to bail us out of our current foreign currency position? And the incumbent's answer was no, we do not need such assistance. I know there has been a time in our history when the IMF representative in Colombo was the person who decided on economic policy in Sri Lanka. that was in the past. Today, it is different. Very soon you will see the outcomes of our new and innovative policy actions, and then you will know why we did not need the IMF. Now, a short while thereafter, we lodged an application for the bailout. And the application was then, again, the spin was that the IMF had offered it to us. Subsequently, it was known that we had actually applied for it. This seems to be an endless cycle of spin. What does that do to the ordinary citizen? Forget about foreign large-scale investors. Tell us how that impacts the ordinary man who is reeling under a financial crisis, but also with the local economic crisis.
See, it is kind of, what's the word I'm looking for? Funny, because, any economist, can figure out by looking at the data, which is public, after the central bank's reforms, I believe in 2002, 2003, the central bank now puts out very good data, and frequently they do this. So any analyst who follows these numbers will be able to come to a fairly strong conclusion as to what might happen in the near term. And with the reduction of our external reserves to prop up rupee, which was anyway causing immense trouble for the exporters because they were losing markets and so on. We knew that this policy couldn't go on for much longer. And also in October of 2008, the government tried to float a syndicated issue for $300 million, which was a complete flop.
This was the diaspora?
No, this was in October.
Right.
All right, they wanted to get $300 million, and they couldn't even get a manager to market this bond issue. Then
the diaspora instrument was a separate one.
That was a separate
for the
one.
Sinhalese diaspora.
Yeah, that was the day the governor made the statement, because that was the day on the 4th of February the government went for the $500 million diaspora bond, which I had argued will not succeed. I had looked at the other successful diaspora bond.
Having said that, you had said that it was innovative, but won't
work.
Yeah.
Because this kind of money, the reason I'm giving you is, or rather what I argued, is that Israel is the only successful diaspora bond program, and they bring $1 billion a year, right? And that is the Jewish diaspora. Do we have a Sinhala diaspora? Because essentially I don't think many Tamil diaspora, unlikely, would be able to bring in half that amount. So, and market talk is that maybe we have got about 1% of what we were looking for. So in that context is it was quite clear that the policy at the time was not sustainable, and with the drying up of the financial flows, the only possibility, in fact I have been arguing this, right, the only possibility was IMF, and if we went to the IMF previously to what we did, perhaps things would not have been that
Why
bad.
then why the categorical denials? What loss of face? What is driving the denial?
See,
and the spin even today?
See, there is a certain politicization of the central bank.
But that's all